Hey guys, welcome to Smack Talk's predictions video. That's right, we're going to predict 2019. Who's going to come out at the end of 2019 as champions. We're going to look at my video from 2018 and see if I was correct. The rules are very similar to what I said last year. So if they're already on the roster, so if they're on NXT, they can only go for NXT titles. If they're on Raw, they can only go for Raw titles, and SmackDown for SmackDown. Now, that has given myself a handicap as a hell because, let's be honest, we're most likely going to get a superstar shake-up at some point this year. So, what's going to happen? So, first things first, I'm going to look at the new brand, NXT UK, and then I'm going to move to NXT, 205, Raw, then SmackDown. And we're going to break each title down, who I predicted, who's the current, and who I see is going to go into 2020 as that champion. So, with all that said and done, let's hit the music. So first things first, let's start with the newest brand to WWE, NXT UK. So first things first, let's look at the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. Currently there's no one holding these titles, so I can predict whoever I want, and I'm gonna pick Zack Gibson, Liverpool's #1, and his tag team partner, James Drake. Now, for me, these two could easily be the big heel faction on NXT UK. If Gallows and Mustache Mountain and British Strong Style get called up to the main roster, then these two will be the big names on NXT UK. And I think Zack Gibson deserves to hold a title. He had a very impressive 2018, and I think 2019 he deserves to hold a title. And these grizzled young veterans definitely own the tag team division right now. Apart from them, Mustache Mountain, they're the only two undefeated tag teams right now as I speak on NXT UK. Next up, we're going to look at the NXT UK Women's Champion. So right now we have Rhea Ripley, who had an impressive 2018, going so far in the Mae Young Classic, rebuilding and redesigning her character from a kind of Charlotte kind of clone to a heavy metal mosher who takes no prisoners and has been quite impressive in ring and on the mic. Yeah, she's still very raw, and I can't wait to see the finished product because I think she will be an asset to the NXT UK brand. But do I think she's going to have a Pete Dunne run as NXT UK Women's Champion? No, I don't. I think she's probably going to lose it to our main roster. She might win it. There might be a back and forth title change between these two. But I think there's going to be one person going into 2020 holding this title. And that is none other than Toni Storm. Toni Storm, who has been absolutely brilliant in 2018. Not just being one of the best wrestlers in the world, but she also won the Mae Young Classic in 2018, beating Io Shirai, the favourite to win the title, to win the Mae Young Classic, and really putting a highlight onto the NXT UK brand. Toni Storm for me is most likely going to get called up this year, but it's a very dangerous bet putting the title on her. But I do want to see her hold the title at least once before she does get called up to the main roster. And if she doesn't, and they give her more time to help build the NXT UK brand, then she's the perfect woman to hold that title going into 2020. Next up, we're going to look at the WWE United Kingdom Championship. We did actually have a predictions this time last year for who I thought would be going into 2019 as the champion, and that was none other than Trent Seven. Trent Seven is still a fantastic athlete, but he's not been able to get into the main card stories like I was hoping he would. Right now, we still have the current Pete Dunne, who is our champion, who's had an impressive, history-destroying title reign, where he's destroyed all modern title reigns with the United Kingdom Championship. It's like 500 and odd days he has been our champion, and I really think he has grown into the title. I think he's the man who could easily hold that title going into main rosters, but no, I can't see him going in to 2020 as still our as United Kingdom Champion. I think that title is going to change hands, and it's going to go to probably Joe Coffey. Joe Coffey is most likely going to be the man who's going to take that title into 2020, and is going to actually destroy destroy what it means to be a champion and be a very aggressive heel champion that we've not seen yet on the NXT UK brand. It'll be quite interesting to see how he does that, but for me, right now, Joe Coffey. Next up, we're going to look at the NXT brand. So first things first, let's look at the North American title, a title which didn't exist this time last year. Our current champion is a man who is just an absolute highlight reel for the NXT brand, none other than Ricochet. The guy is absolutely brilliant, and I can understand why Triple H is so keen on the lad. He easily can go on the main roster anytime soon and be challenging for main titles because he's that damn good. For me, he is an absolute star, and I can't wait to see what he brings to the main roster sooner in 2019. So who do I think is going to go into 2020 holding the North American title? Again, this is quite difficult, but I'm going to place my bets onto Bobby Fish. Again, a guy who I do expect to go up to the main roster this year, but if not, and WWE NXT want to keep Undisputed Era onto the brand, then he's a safe bet to put the North American title on. He's already saying he's challenging for that title. He wants that title. It's either him or Johnny Gargano. Again, another superstar who I could easily see get pulled up to the main roster in 2019. Next up, we're going to look at the NXT Women's Championship. This time last year, I predicted it was going to be Kairi Sane going into 2019 as our NXT champion. I was only a few months short, but she got beaten by the first ever two-time NXT Women's Champion, Shayna Baszler, who is our current NXT Women's Champion, who's done a fantastic job. Another superstar, again, I'm going to keep repeating myself, who could easily get called up into the main roster in 2019. I thought she would have been called up before 2019 came around, but no, she's still on NXT, but it'll be interesting to see if we get to see a faction connection with her and Ronda Rousey in the future, or do we see a rivalry between Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey in the future? Who do I see going into 2020 as a new NXT Women's Champion? None other than Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is an absolute talent. She's got potential to be one of the best women's champions in NXT history. Why do I say that? Because she reminds me so much of the Velveteen Dream, mainly because of ability alone. Character-wise, completely different, but ability, she can just literally, it seems like she can watch someone do something, study it for like 2 seconds, manage to do it, but not just do it better than the person who showed her how to do it. That's how impressive Bianca Belair has become in 2018. And right now, as I speak, while making this video, she's still undefeated. So remember that. Next up, we're going to look at the NXT Championship. This time last year, who did I predict would be our NXT Champion? Well, I predicted it would be Adam Cole, baby! This one was quite a difficult choice. There was a lot of people who, like myself, thought Adam Cole would be holding the big gold belt on NXT. Who is our current champion? None other than the Blackheart himself, Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa has not just reimagined what a heel champion is, he's taken what heel champions were back in the past, brought it into the modern era, and he's absolutely bloody killed it. His storylines with Johnny Gargano are probably the best storylines in NXT history, and right now as we speak, could we see a re-emergence of Team DIY? Who knows? Woo, woo, woo! We'll have to wait and see. But it is always interesting. Who do I see going into 2020 as our NXT champion? Well, none other than Adam Cole, baby! Yes, Adam Cole is again my safe bet to go into 2020. Yes, most likely get called up in 2019 to the main roster, but if not, Adam Cole deserves to hold the biggest belt on the NXT brand. Next up, we're going to look at the NXT Tag Team Championships. I kind of missed them, and I'm going to put them in at the end now. It goes to the Street Profits. This time last year, I predicted it would be them. I always thought it would be. They came across as like the NXT's New Day, and they still are. There's just unfortunate lost momentum, injuries, things like that. Kind of pushed them back a little bit, and now they're kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit. Who is our current NXT Tag Team Champions? None other than Undisputed's Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. Yes, Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly have been the one of the cornerstones of the NXT tag team brand, and they've just killed it. And I keep praising them, and I'm going to keep praising Undisputed Era because they are the most watched thing on NXT. If they're not on NXT, most times fans will go, oh, I'll watch the highlights. But if they're on it, fans will watch NXT. That just tells you something. Who do I see going into 2020 as NXT Tag Team Champions? Again, I'm going to put my money on Undisputed Era because it just feels like a safe bet right now. It just feels like the safest bet. Undisputed Era, again, I think will hold the titles. Next up, we're going to look at 205, the Cruiserweight Championship. This time last year, I predicted it would be Hideo Itami who would be at 205 at the Cruiserweight Champion. What a mistake again. Hideo Itami has barely been featured on 205, and again, he kind of feels like he got lost in the shuffle. Luckily enough, 205 has been saved by Triple H, and the superstars have been able to show off exactly what they can do. But who is our current champion? None other than a man who wasn't even on the roster this time last year, Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy has redesigned what a cruiserweight can be. He has become the juggernaut of 205. Instead of doing high-flying moves, which he can do as well, he has become the super strength character on 205. He feels like a final boss. It's like the guy you have to defeat to finally finish off the whole quest, and that's what he has become. For me, he's entertaining, his mic skills are brilliant, and I can't wait to see what comes for Buddy Murphy. Could we see what's happened to other cruiserweights who have really captured their audience, and see him go up to the, up to Raw or SmackDown and show off his skills? But who do I see taking the 205 brand's big belt? It's quite difficult. There's a lot of great talent, but I'm going to go with Noam Dar. Noam Dar, he's an absolute talent. He's a legend over here in the UK, and I would really like to see him hold an actual belt this time next year. I think he's earned it. He has earned it compared to other superstars, and I think he's one of the best talents on the cruiserweight show. Next up, we're going to look at the Raw brand. This time last year for the IC title, who did I predict would be the champion? None other than Finn Balor. In my head, I had this big storyline where we would see the Balor Club taking on the Shield, and I had this prediction that the Balor Club would be heels and the Shield would be baby faces, and we'd see a big storyline between the two. Unfortunately, that never happened, and it's a bit of a shame. Finn Balor never got a title change in 2018, and he's been one of the biggest names on the brand still. For me, 2018 has been a kind of stop and start year for Finn Balor, and hopefully 2019 he will finally get a title opportunity that will allow him to show exactly what he can do. Hopefully in 2019 we will see the heel Balor, which I've been dying to see all the time. Who is our current IC champion as I speak? None other than currently the new heel champion, Dean Ambrose. Yes, Dean Ambrose returned from injury, turned heel on the night when Roman Reigns had to relinquish the Universal Belt because of medical reasons, and turned heel on his brother Seth Rollins, winning the title at TLC. And he has his new character's gonna take some time. Let's be honest, the fans still pop for Dean, and that's going to be very difficult for Dean Ambrose to get over, because the fans are so used to the lunatic fringe character that his new character is going to take some time to get over. But fans are still going to pop for his dirty deeds no matter what Dean does, so it just shows you what kind of guy he is. Who do I see going into 2020 as the IC champion? This was really difficult. There's a lot of good contenders who I think could hold that title. Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor, but I'm going to go with a guy who I think has done a lot of good work in 2018. I think in 2019 he will finally get his reward. None other than Elias. That's right, Elias is my pick for holding the IC title, mainly because I want to see him have the title wrapped around him while he's playing guitar, because that would look bloody brilliant. Elias has been able to turn heel to babyface this year without any restrictions, and I think crowds do love him. Next up, we're going to look at the Raw Tag Team Championship. Who did I predict this time last year? None other than the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. That's a I can't believe I predicted that. But yeah, they're now on the blue brand and they're finally starting to get some momentum after a really bad year in 2018 where they weren't even used hardly. Jesus Christ, it's a shame, but yes, the Good Brothers got lost in the shuffle, which makes no sense because they're one of the most popular tag teams in New Japan history. Goes to SmackDown, well, goes to WWE and gets lost straight away, it seems. Who is our current Raw Tag Team Champions? A team who, one, didn't exist last year and two, were on SmackDown. That's none other than Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. They've been a good little fresh air onto the Raw Tag Team division because, I'm not going to lie guys, the Raw Tag Team division sucks. It does suck. It's been absolutely terrible. I think the highlight for me for the whole year of 2018 has been Bobby Roode and Chad Gable's title reigns and the B Team. That's right, the B Team have been the highlight of 2018's tag. I would say Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, but the problem is they didn't feel like they were a tag team. They felt like they were just given titles, and none of the other tag teams really had any chance of taking them off them. It had to go to Seth and Dean, and Seth and Dean finally beat him. Dean turns heel, AOP take the title, AOP do nothing with the title, and then finally Bobby Roode and Chad Gable take the titles off AOP, and they actually make them feel relevant again. Who do I see going into 2020 as our current going in as Raw Tag Team Champions? This is quite difficult, but I'm going to cheat a little bit because they've already been announced to be called up, just not which brand. And I'm going to go with Heavy Machinery. I know they've been linked to go to SmackDown, but for me, I think it'd be a safer bet to put them onto Raw, where they need tag team competitors to really up the scales for their brand. And let's be honest, Heavy Machinery are fun, excited, and they could bring a whole new style to the Raw Tag Team division. Next up, we're going to look at the Raw Women's Championship. Who did I predict this time last year would be our Raw Women's Champion? None other than the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka. I know I was so wrong. She is currently a champion, just on the wrong brand. And I also predicted she wouldn't lose a singles match at all. Well, what an idiot I was, eh? So who is our current Women's Champion? None other than Ronda Rousey. Yes, the baddest woman on the planet, has an absolutely brilliant. Yes, I have criticised Ronda quite a lot on this channel, but I've got to give her props. She's had her best rookie year since Kurt Angle, and I hope that 2019 her in-ring skills continue to improve like they have done, but her mic skills, one of the most fundamental skills you need as a wrestler, get better. Because if she gets that done, she'll be up there with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair as one of the best women's wrestlers of all time. Who do I see going into 2020 as our Raw Women's Champion? Now, this was a very difficult choice. There's a lot of great competitors on there, and it was very difficult. But there's about two women who I really want to see, either Bayley or Alexa Bliss. Now, I want to see Alexa Bliss hold this title going into 2020, but not heel Alexa Bliss. I want us to see a babyface Alexa Bliss, aka I want a face and heel change. Ronda Rousey turns heel, Alexa Bliss turns face. That could be an interesting concept. I know there's a lot of rumours that people are saying that Alexa's really injured and she could take a long time to return, but wouldn't that be a great pop for her when she finally returns properly and has the match she wants, wins it, Ronda turns heel, and it could be a great storyline altogether. Next up, we're going to look at the Universal title. Who did I predict this time last year? Well, I predicted it would be Samoa Joe. Well, I was wrong. He's now on SmackDown Live, absolutely killing it. When Joe actually arrived on Raw, I thought he was going to be the next big thing. He absolutely killed it with his Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins feuds. Then he kind of got lost in the shuffle. He got moved to SmackDown Live, and he's actually had a really good run on SmackDown. He hasn't won a title yet, which is a bit of a shame, but hopefully sooner rather than later he will hold a title in 2019. Who is our current Universal Champion? A man that no one actually wanted to hold the belt again, Brock Lesnar. Yes, we had Brock Lesnar hold the title for a very, very long time, for almost a year. Roman finally got it. Roman got sick, and WWE give the title pretty much back to Brock Lesnar. Yay! As you can tell, fans were not very happy with this choice by creative, and you cannot blame them at all. Who do I see going into 2020 as our Universal Champion? Now, this is very, very difficult. There's two men who I think could definitely hold this title. Either Braun Strowman or Seth friggin' Rollins. And I'm going to go with Seth friggin' Rollins going into 2020 as our Universal Champion. Mainly because I think Seth's absolutely earned it. I think he will become #1 contender this time, sooner rather than later. And I think he will hold the title soon. Maybe we could see Braun Strowman versus Seth Rollins for the Universal title in 2019. That would be a decent match to see. Babyface versus babyface, these two could easily do it. Finally, we're on to the SmackDown side, and let's have a look at the United States Championship. Now, this time last year, I predicted it would be Zack Ryder. Well, he's had a year. Zack finally made his Raw, finally showed up on Raw on the last episode of the year in 2018, so that shows you how good his year was. Damn it. But who is our current United States Champion? None other than Rusev. Rusev Day has been ups and downs. It was at its peak in 2018. It started to slide down, and then WWE finally give him the title when it looks like Rusev Day is about to die. Sounds about right for WWE, right? But yes, he beat Shinsuke Nakamura on the Christmas Day episode of SmackDown, which was pre-taped, and crowds all over the world, when they heard the news that he won the title, were really, really happy for Rusev, and I've got to agree. I can't wait to see what Rusev brings to the title as a babyface, because the last two times he was United States Champion, he was a heel. Now it'll be interesting to see how he brings the United States Championship in his own way as a babyface. Can't wait to see. Right now it looks like his feud with Shinsuke Nakamura isn't over, but hopefully it will end before WrestleMania so we can have some new challengers. So who do I see going into 2020 as our new United States Champion? Well, this was quite difficult. There's a lot of good talent on SmackDown Live, and it seems like everyone has an opportunity to win a title, including people who are in tag teams. So I'm going to go with a man who's really kind of impressed me in the New Year's episode of SmackDown Live, Shelton Benjamin. It was a small 20-second promo, but it really showed me what Shelton Benjamin can do. It's a lot more aggressive, a lot more dangerous Shelton Benjamin that we actually got to see in 2018. We barely got to see Shelton Benjamin in 2018. I want to see Shelton Benjamin be a very dangerous, very destructive heel competitor. Next up, we're going to look at the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Now, this time last year, I predicted it would be the Bludgeon Brothers for one reason only. Because the music was bloody awesome. It still is, but unfortunately, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan did win the titles in 2018. They got injured as well, and we haven't seen them since. So who do we see going to go into... Who did we see actually hold the titles right now? Well, right now, we've got The Bar, one of the 3 5-time champions on the SmackDown roster. Yes, I can see where people complained a little bit about the SmackDown Tag Team division, but I still think it's the best tag team division we have on all of WWE. We have The Bar, the Usos, and the New Day, who kind of been swapping the belts between the three. But now it seems with this fresh start that finally the tag team division is going to open up. And to be honest, there's a lot of teams on there you can't really complain could hold the titles, like the Good Brothers, Sanity, and so on. There's so many teams on there. You kind of just go, well, these guys could this thing. So who do I see going into 2020 as our SmackDown Tag Team Champions? Now, this was really difficult because, like I said, anyone could hold the Tag Team Championships on SmackDown Live. And I'm going to go with Sanity, mainly because I really want to see how they would cope holding the belts on the main roster. I think they're going to absolutely kill it, but knowing my luck, they're probably going to get moved to Raw by the Superstar Shake-Up. So if they do get moved, and I've mentioned it, I'm going to get a point for that. I'm going to give myself a point. Next up, we're going to look at the SmackDown Women's Championship, where I predicted this time last year it was going to be Charlotte Flair holding the title going into 2019. I was kind of close. Charlotte Flair did hold the title quite a few times during 2018. She lost it to Becky Lynch, who lost it in a TLC triple threat match against Charlotte and Asuka, who is our current SmackDown Live Women's Champion, who I can't wait to see how she actually evolves the character. It's her first title defense and it's her first title reign as a champion, and I can't wait to see what Asuka brings. Hopefully she's not going to be a paper champion and she can hold the title for a few months. But who do I want to see going into 2020 as our SmackDown Women's Champion? This was really difficult because I really want to see either Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Asuka, and Naomi holding the title, and it was really, really difficult to choose between the four. But I went for a fifth choice, someone who is being called up, and it's kind of cheating, I know what you're going to say, but she's already debuted on SmackDown Live. Nikki Cross. Yeah, I want Nikki Cross to hold the title going into 2020 because the Twisted Sister is absolutely brilliant, and she should have held the NXT Women's Championship during her time in NXT. So I want to see her actually hold the belt in 2019 because I think she would have earned it already. Last but not least, we're going to look at the WWE Championship. Now, this one was the most interesting one. I predicted it would be AJ Styles going into 2019 as our WWE Champion. That's kind of close. It was very close. He lost it just on the SmackDown before Survivor Series to none other than a man who wasn't even back into in-ring action, Daniel Bryan. So if you had told me this time last year that Daniel Bryan would be back to in-ring action, he wins the title and he turns heel in the same year, I would have just laughed in your face and walked away. But that's what we got. We got Daniel Bryan returning, winning, turning. Can't believe it. It's just brilliant. It's the best story of the year for me. And I cannot wait to see what Daniel Bryan, his character, the new Daniel Bryan, has been entertaining, and it's really showing what Daniel Bryan can do. But I can't wait to see what happens next for the Daniel Bryan character. So, who do I see going into 2020 as our WWE Champion? Now, unlike Raw, there is a lot more choices. You got AJ Styles, you got Daniel Bryan, you got Mustafa Ali, you got Samoa Joe, you got Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton. 7 guys. 7. Rusev, Shinsuke as well. You could put in there 9. Who could easily, if John Cena wants to return, 10 guys who could easily hold the title, and people go, yeah, it makes sense. Rusev and Shinsuke kind of are the lesser two, but everyone else in that list kind of makes sense of holding the title at some point. And I'm gonna make a very, very bold prediction. And I know that a lot of fans are gonna go, what? But I'm gonna go with Mustafa Ali. I really want to see this cruiserweight lad hold the title. The former heart of 205 become the new heart of SmackDown and winning the title. I think he will earn that shot. I think he is one of the best wrestlers on SmackDown Live. I think he's one of the best talents on SmackDown Live, and I think he really could be the champion that could really shock the whole system and show what SmackDown Live is really about, a land of truly opportunity. And there you go, guys. Those were my reviews for my predictions from last year, my current and my predictions for going into 2020. So this time next year I will be doing the same thing again and laughing at myself for being completely wrong yet again on predicting champions. But I want to hear who you guys think will be coming out as champions in 2020. Leave it in the comments below. If you do like our videos, please remember to like, subscribe and press the bell to keep notified. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do. It's at SmackTalkYouTube. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Boyze88. And I'll see you guys next time on Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews.